How's it going, guys? I'm Bagel the Bat, and welcome to Bagel Bytes, where I do a quick review of something in roughly 8 minutes or less. And today, I'll be discussing Addams Family Values, one of my favorite comedies of all time and a spooky cult classic. For one reason or another, Addams Family Values has stayed lodged firmly in my brain ever since I was a kid. It's one of the rare instances of a sequel being better than the original movie. I've seen the first film maybe 4 times, but this one, oh man, it's gotta be well over 25 times at this point, and that's honestly a lowball estimate. So yeah, I've always kinda had weird taste in movies. It definitely overlaps with my sense of humor, so the signs were clearly there from the start. The plot involves the Addams family welcoming a new baby into the house. It's a boy that they've tragically decided to name Pubert. Rough name, but hey, at least he has his father's amazing mustache, great genetics. But when the older siblings, Wednesday and Pugsley, start trying to kill him out of jealousy, as one does, Gomez and Morticia decide to hire a nanny to help around the house. Things seem too good to be true when a woman named Debbie Jellinsky approaches them for the job. She matches their freak in the weirdest way possible, but Debbie actually has her sights set on their uncle, Fester. In reality, she's the Black Widow, a serial killer who marries rich men and later kills them to steal their money. After Wednesday suspects her of malicious intent, Debbie convinces Gomez and Morticia to send the kids to a remote but exclusive summer camp. But they stick out like a sore thumb and are forced into a number of wholesome activities, ones designed to break their spirits and crush their individuality. Yep, that was my experience at camp too. My Sega Dreamcast had a very lonely summer that year, and I still miss it so much. With the kids out of the way, Debbie seduces Fester and marries him shortly afterwards. She tries to kill him during their Hawaiian honeymoon, but to her surprise, Fester is basically indestructible. Fester, by all accounts, is a great husband and obviously loves her dearly. He's just kinda gross and weird, which I guess is a deal breaker for a lot of women. But Debbie isn't used to not getting what she wants immediately. Instead, she manipulates Fester, withholding affection from him unless he promises to stop talking to his family forever. This is a classic toxic relationship, but Fester is too inexperienced to understand how unhealthy this kind of dynamic really is. In just a few weeks, Fester has become a shell of himself, warping his personality and appearance into being whatever Debbie wants him to be. As long as they get to keep having weird, freaky sex, Fester will do whatever it takes to make her happy. Frustrated, Gomez and Morticia try to intervene by talking with Debbie at her gaudy mansion. And it's not so much the psychological manipulation they have a problem with, mostly they just care about Fester and want to see him because they're a loving, close-knit family. But Debbie isn't having it and dismisses them after Morticia, crosses the line when it comes to her decorating.
But Debbie... What? Pastels?
Get out of my house!
This throws the entire balance of the Addams family into chaos. Gomez falls into a deep depression after losing contact with his brother, Pubert loses his beloved mustache and becomes adorably normal, even the kids are being singled out at camp for not fitting in and are forcefully re-educated by the counselors in the cruelest way possible.
Yes, indeedy, just the ticket. Bambi.
Lassie, come home.
The Little Mermaid.
Stop it.
He's only a child.
Things seem pretty bleak until they come back to their senses during a Thanksgiving play performance. Wednesday and Pugsley manage to break out of the summer camp, free the other misfit campers with them, and roast their counselors alive. Be sure to save their bones for soup, guys. Them's good eatins'. Meanwhile, Debbie and Fester are celebrating their 3-week anniversary as a married couple. Debbie once again tries to kill Fester, this time with a giant bomb designed to blow up their house, but against all odds, Fester survives, which infuriates Debbie to no end. Debbie isn't exactly a feminist icon, but she is without a doubt the toxic girl boss we all deserve.
I tried to make it look like an accident. I tried to give you some dignity, but oh no, not you.
What do you say?
I'm saying I want you dead and I want your money. Good for her.
Thing rescues Fester from her clutches and he reconnects with the entire family back home. The balance is restored to the Addams household, until of course Debbie shows up looking for revenge.
She's got a point. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
But the electric chair isn't Debbie's method of torture here. Oh no, she goes the traditional route and forces them to watch a slideshow of how she killed her previous victims. Debbie is attempting to rationalize murdering her former husbands and her own parents just because they disappointed her, made a mistake, or set a boundary with her. And it's nothing short of breathtaking. You will laugh, you will cry, and maybe, just maybe, you will understand where she's coming from.
Sorry, Debbie, no Mercedes this year. We have to set an example.
Oh yeah? Set this!
This entire ending sequence is so iconic. not just for Debbie's impassioned monologue to materialism, but for how they go about setting it up off screen. She either overpowers all 7 of the family members, or realistically, she just asks them to get into their matching set of electric chairs in the basement. They don't bring up how it happens, and honestly, it doesn't matter, because it's so stupid that we as an audience just run with it anyway. It's awesome! In a film that's already jam-packed with incredible dialogue, Debbie's monologue is so quotable and ridiculous that it has since become a staple of drag shows and theater auditions for dozens of people online. And it's honestly really endearing to see just how much this very silly movie means to people. At the risk of sounding hyperbolic, this was quite possibly one of the biggest Oscar snubs I can think of, because Joan Cusack knew she ate with this role. And just because it's a sequel doesn't mean the '94 Oscars could get away with ignoring it. For those who weren't around for it, there was a trend of remaking shows from the 1960s into films in the 1990s to help them appeal to a new generation. It's called the 30-year cycle, and as my long-suffering, loving husband knows all too well, I'm completely obsessed with it as a marketing strategy. But that's specifically for how infrequently this tactic works to make a movie with long-term appeal. Some of the properties that studios choose to reboot make sense, but others are truly baffling to me. The Flintstones? Sure. It's kind of weird, but it's a classic sitcom with great set design and practical effects. The Brady Bunch? Yeah, that one works too, because they're a family of squares that haven't adapted to modern life in the 90s, but Jan is schizophrenic now? Alright, yeah, sure, whatever. The Beverly Hillbillies? Not so much. It had a lame plot and some really half-baked characters. Out of all these attempts, I feel Addams Family Values has the most staying power due to the quality of the script and the quality of the cast. It also improved on many of the issues the first one had, by cutting out too many subplots and instead focusing the story on one solid family conflict. Fester is still the same focal point character, but the story evolves from him reconnecting with the family and instead focuses on the value of living authentically and the dangers of bad relationships. And wow, talk about absolutely perfect casting. Everybody is on their A-game in this movie, and you can tell how much fun they were having making it. Raul Julia is dashing as ever as Gomez, but this was also his last starring role released before his death in 1994. I miss him terribly, as the role hasn't been the same without him, but his incredible performance lives on endlessly in the hearts of fans. Gomez and Morticia have since become one of the healthiest romantic partnerships in movie history, and I try to emulate them as much as possible in my own marriage. Well, minus the whole casual manslaughter thing. I'm fine with that being their thing. To sum things up, I think Addams Family Values masterfully earned its place as a cult classic movie that bridges that coveted gap between Halloween and Thanksgiving. It's getting more narrow. We need to reinforce our boundaries as much as humanly possible. I genuinely think a lot of people miss movies like it being made, too. We need more campy, self-aware comedies with a tight script and a relatively lean budget. Something that manages to have a ton of charm and personality crammed into only 90 minutes. If you want a more recent example of this kind of movie working by today's standards, I'd definitely check out the Naked Gun reboot movie if you haven't seen it already. I was honestly on the fence about seeing it when I saw the first trailer, but I gave it a shot anyway, and it's easily the most I've left in a movie theater in a long time. Much like Values, you can feel just how much the crew loved working on it, because that positive energy seeps into the quality of the jokes. They don't always hit, but the ones that do stick with you forever. But what about you guys? Is there a cult classic movie that you quote endlessly and can't get it out of your head? Please let me know in the comments down below, as I'm always looking for new stuff to check out. Also, thanks again so much for checking out my channel. I recently passed 100 subscribers, and actually 150 at the time of recording this, which is so cool. This is an outlet for me to do creative stuff that I wouldn't otherwise do during my regular work things, and yeah, it's just so cool. I really appreciate you guys watching my stuff. Hope you guys have a fun, safe, and possibly sassy Halloween, and either way, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, bye!